Welcome, Virgo. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot getting ready to do a reading for you, a third quarter reading, summer solstice reading, July, August, and September. I'll be clarifying these cards. At the time that you're receiving this message, the full moon in Capricorn will be resonating very powerfully. And this may harken back to the new moon in Capricorn in January of this year. So at that time in January, you may have been making a big push to pull things together, to take care of business, to get your act together, or to marshal your energies in a certain direction. And at this point, you are prioritizing those things that have become essential, that you've identified as critical to the foundation of this move forward for you, the way that you're committing to those elements of your effort. Discipline applied, and of course, the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn, which is in Aries. So not only are we signaling the form, function, responsibility, and accountability of Capricorn, but in Saturn and Aries is about building something new, building something afresh, rebuilding something. And certainly out of the social chaos we're experiencing, we can observe both things happening, things falling apart, things coming back together in a new way. So I'm going to start in July, early July, with the Temperance card. This is about a concerted, conscious, aware healing process. You have learned how to balance out the extreme crises, storms, events in your life with your poise, grace, and ability to survive those, overcome those hardships with poise. And you have done that by recalibrating your inner resources to deal with all of this. And at times it may have felt difficult to survive what felt like a very untenable situation. For you, I'm really feeling like the traditional way in which the angel has one foot on land and one foot on the water, or here it looks like he's taking one foot out of the water, is really about you being straddling different environments, different circumstances, and trying to make it work. So there's implied here an ultimate goal of unity, of being who you are, and having to retrofit yourself to the changing situations that may be endemic to your livelihood, your employment, your profession, ways in which you have to be flexible and adaptable. At the end of July, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is describing, I think, some of the result of a successful way in which you have adapted to a changing landscape, perhaps in your career, perhaps in your home or family life. This feels to me like a strip down, a recognition that you are a maverick, that you aren't going to do things in the traditional normative ways that were part of your conditioning. Even if your goals are the same, you have to do it in a way that works for you. And you're aware that the traditional assistance, support is not available for what you as an individual are achieving or doing. So I feel like you're really stripping down your resources, your environment to what is essential, what is portable, what you can move with you. I almost am thinking of like a movable lifestyle, as in a movable feast, right? A picnic that you take with you everywhere. That seems incredibly casual for the import of this, but this does talk about a change in lifestyle, a recognition that you're in a different lane than you started. And that lane allows you certain kinds of freedoms, but the awareness that you must reach out to those who are prepared and equipped to support you. And I'm going to clarify this with 3 cards. Ooh, that's 3. The 5 of Pentacles, a repeat, the 6 of Swords, and the 6 of Pentacles. I like this. Interesting. So 2 5s, 2 6s. The number 14 reduces to a 5. So this is important. This tells me that you're teaching, you talk about change, you are helping people to prepare for change in much the same way that your attention is focused on sorting and prioritizing, decluttering, stripping down. These are elements that are helping you to recover from a situation that was never quite satisfying, one in which you may have provided your assistance, your presence, in the hope that you could make some improvements in a situation. This can be a job or a family situation, a relationship, but that visibility wasn't really there. And I'm not sure if it's a result of your commitment. Was it something you really desired? Because alongside of this recovery from a situation that felt stale, stagnant, or not your lane anymore, a place you had matured or grown out of, you are moving into a place of real comfort with your relationships, a kind of self-acceptance that you can change your environment, but you've actually become better at impacting and improving your relationships with others. Your facility with making agreements, positive contracts, giving and receiving in an equitable way in all of your energetic exchanges. And that usually includes love and money for sure, is really something that you realize is the recovery from a situation that felt impoverished, bare bones, not really a reflection of a much deeper and richer sense of life's possibilities. So there's almost a feeling here that you settled for something, that you now have taken the courage and the assertiveness, the confidence to move forward with relationships that reflect more of a match with who you are, those that share similar goals. And it's very about functionality. You want things that will work, things that will balance, things that are equitable and fair. And I don't believe you had that in your former situation, or if that is still a current situation in July, you're changing that. In August, the Eight of Swords starts out the month, and the Eight of Swords is really about all the overthinking that may be a tendency of yours. It may be uh, a symptom or an offshoot of your professional practice. In other words, the teaching energy came through here. But in teaching, there's a lot of preparation and there's a lot of reference to the way things were done before. And I feel like you are freighted with the opinions of others in whatever direction you're considering, because you've achieved a lot. You feel somehow overwhelmed, anxious about the opportunity or the direction moving forward. This can be riddled with failures, a sense of failures, and self-judging yourself because of that. But be clear that this crisis, this anxiety is a result of you overthinking something, instead of allowing yourself to simply know what you know. You know enough. You've already been successful in overcoming a lot of challenges. That's part of what you do. And it feels like this is something you're more comfortable with professionally than personally. But you're overthinking something. It can be a change you're contemplating. It can be the way in which you're trying to rearrange your affairs so that you have more flexibility and adaptability that is more authentic to who you are. Towards the end of August, we have the Seven of Pentacles. 5, 6, 7. I like this. Seven of Pentacles is about really taking a real view, a calm, assessing view at to your business, the workings of your life, the investment you've made in your life, in your work, and the rewards you are receiving. This feels like a evaluation of how prudent your investments have been, how carefully you have shored up and saved up your rewards. But there is a desire to make a shift here, to not be satisfied with your continuous efforts and to look for ways to leverage more productivity with less work. Reconsidering your investments. Maybe it's time now for some kind of a major shift. Maybe it's time to find a different position or to change your employment status altogether. Moving from maybe organization to your own business is an example of a way to leverage your knowledge and power in new ways, less laborious ways. I'm going to clarify this with 3 cards again. There's the Queen of Wands, something else, and let's see what that is. The Death card, and one more, the Four of Swords. Interesting, because I see you as full of life and the desire to keep growing, to keep expanding. Highly creative energy here. And the diligence and consistency with which you work and adapt yourself to the various conditions of your work and your personal life is really giving you the sense of enjoying your best life. The Death card here almost makes you welcome or look forward to the change that you are initiating. This is a rebirth that you're contemplating, and perhaps here you've gained the courage to really make a dramatic change. This change is not for the faint-hearted. This is absolutely cutting something out, surrendering something that has not worked, but perhaps you've held on to because it's familiar. Someone else depends on you. You may be a provider, and you are clear that the reliance of others on you is not reciprocal. You don't feel it's reciprocal. And this desire for change sends you into this real spiritual retreat. This place of really looking at what have been your failures and your disappointments. Because there's something light here in terms of your heart values. There's a lot of thinking and ideas and adjustment and flexibility and reward for sure. Stability, security. But I think you're saying here, I want to grow my heart. I want to grow my passion. I know what I do well. I want to do it more. And I don't want to be held back by others' needs for my resources. So I see you reviewing those failures, those disappointments, even heartbreaks, ones that you see you've chosen, you've participated in, you have responsibility for. And yet, from each of those broken opportunities, you have learned something. And now you see those heartaches, heartbreaks as gifts. Things that showed you something you needed to see. Perhaps the disappointment in love helped you to balance out the success in your work. Perhaps you allowed work to be your passion so that the, want to call it disharmony in your home life or your relationships or even your lifestyle was the cost to pay and you didn't mind paying it. But you're actually understanding now that these experiences made you who you are, that you're more grateful than you are heartbroken. You're more appreciative of the chalice of development that you've experienced rather than resentful or angry. You've released those feelings. You surrendered those feelings. You really have let them go. And what you're contemplating is what is left. That is your revelation, your purpose, your function. And it seems to me that your purpose is fairly clear through perhaps the work you do. That's yours to determine. I'm not sure where you're finding this revelation of value and purpose in your work. I do sense a reinvigoration of purpose through your work. But your purpose feels like something you've always been working on. In September, the Emperor in the beginning of September, this is in the northern hemisphere, the end of summer. August tends to be the height of summer. In the southern hemisphere, this is winter, and this would be moving towards the end of winter. So the Emperor is really about letting go of control of any external experience, resources, feelings, activities that others promote that you have nothing to do with, you can't control. And in fact, you actually come to a place of real ownership of your own life. And that ownership means ownership of your feelings, of your experiences. So you take responsibility for your reality. That's where you're at. And that's what feels like you've been busy organizing here, prioritizing in resonance with this full moon in Capricorn that is occurring in this moment. Even though we're talking here about September roughly, and I'm pretty sure most of you are aware these time constructs are fairly artificial. This kind of change and growth smack dab in the middle of your reading is not something that happens overnight. This has been years in the making, as is your ability to navigate these changes, these storms, these disappointments, these hardships. And towards the end of September, the Nine of Pentacles. This feels so right for you, Virgo. This is less about your relationship status. You can be fully invested, engaged, building a healthy, respectful relationship and be independent. In fact, many successful relationships are just that, where both or all members are independent. Independence implying that they know they are able to act on their belief in what is right for them. And this is something where you feel this glory of independence, that you understand that this independence gives you that right. This is you enjoying all that you've worked for, all that you've developed about yourself, all that you've contributed to the world so that you're poised to reinvest. How interesting, 5, 7, and 9. It's an interesting progression from changing your lifestyle to assessing and evaluating how to work more productively to enjoying the efforts of your labors and contemplating new investments in yourself and in others. I'm going to clarify There's the Star and the Eight of Wands. I love that. And the Queen of Cups. Lovely. I love that my name is on these Egyptian cards. Regina is the Latin word for queen. I did notice that the devil's at the bottom of the deck. There's an opportunity here to reconnect with a habit, an important passion of yours, something that once represented ultimate achievement. It can be in the form of a test. Or it simply can be a temptation. Now that you've gotten things organized in a way that suits you, here comes some memory or experience from the past that is reminding you of an old habit, old passion, something you once desired. The Star here is talking about the elevation of your vision, the elevation of what you see as your potential. This takes it out of a personal realm and really describes how the way you've come to develop yourself, your work, your environment is contributing to a better world in some way. The North Star is something we always reach to. And right now you're seeing the emergence of some kind of hope that you perhaps abandoned, because this feels like a really hard time. This feels difficult. And this has gone on for some time in your life. This is the background of your life, this ability to overcome with grace, to withstand one storm after another with some kind of grace and confidence that you will survive and emerge better. So the Star really is about that, the hope now at the end of this long, dark tunnel where you gain the courage to release something that wasn't working for you. The Eight of Wands talks about how you have now generated new activity, new connections, new resources, new groups of people, new ideas, new opportunities for growth, but it's concerted. This is a part of an already existing movement that you're allowing yourself to become a part of. You may even be spearheading in some way. And this seems to be about the meaning, the success for sure, but the significance of the work that you've done for a long time. It's landing somewhere that is unexpected for you, in a place you could only have hoped that it would impact. This may be on communities farther afield, at a distance, in other circles, other networks where your ideas are being shared or are discussed in some way that lends them to empowering some kind of collective activism. In the final card, the Queen of Cups, beautiful Regina de Cope. So this is about the opening of your heart. This is really about becoming the beloved. And it feels to me as though, as this has been a theme for you, Virgo, your recognition that you are worthy of the love that exists for you in the world, the love that you found within yourself, is a love that you're projecting into the world, and that is signaling your desire for true, meaningful connection. That connection that you're finding within yourself that promotes your independence. Isn't that interesting? This healthy relationship with yourself, this knowing your own needs, tending to those first, healing self, taking care of self first in a way that empowers you to be able to care for others. This is signaling to the world that you are contented, you are accepting of who you are. and that you are worthy of being loved by the world, by others, by a significant other. So this feels like a bit of a cliffhanger for me, Virgo, but I will finish this reading with a crystal oracle, and I pulled the ametrine, the key word being intuition. I'm fully aligned with my intuition. I trust this powerful wisdom to guide me. And that intuition, I'm telling you, is inside of you, Virgo. This recognition, this self-acceptance, this prioritization of your needs is really the gift of your intuition, the gift of your ability to reflect on your experiences and understand that you're not only worthy of healing, you're worthy of the pursuit of your dreams, your ultimate dream. Thank you so much for this reading, Virgo. If this resonated, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, namaste.